Hey cats and kittens, welcome to another episode of Culture Doom. This is episode 406. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Brendan. Alex, you look like...
Hi, my name is Alex.
I wasn't sure if you were doing that deliberately. Well, Alex has been sick. He's hopped up on painkillers, diphenhydramine, and amoxicillin. Well, you were on.
You want to know what it was?
Diphenhydramine.
So it's not the flu. No. It's not the flu. It's not COVID, because I had 2 tests come back negative. It's strep throat.
Out of Alex and his wife and me, he's the only one who hasn't had COVID.
Yeah.
Actually, his wife had it twice.
Yeah, she got it twice. Well, the doctor today that saw me, he's like, did you have COVID recently, or have you had COVID? I'm like, honestly, if I did, I couldn't tell. And he was kind of like, he's like, yeah, you probably couldn't have. I mean, I'm like, oh, medical professional, tell me more.
Couldn't have had COVID.
Well, basically, it was kind of like, if I had COVID, like I wouldn't, unless I tested for it while having it, I wouldn't know that I had it.
Yeah.
Because it would just, to me, it would feel like, and I had like the cold multiple times over the past few years, but it's like,
it's funny, you do have that little bit of a puberty voice going on. Just a little bit.
Yeah. I'm hitting puberty for the third time.
You sound like amazing. Morty.
Oh, God. Hey, guys.
Hey. Sorry, but anyway, you were saying your doctor.
I will do the job for a third of the price.
But your doctor was saying the COVID
Yeah, he was
thing.
saying, he's like, if you had it, there's probably a chance you wouldn't know it unless you tested for it, because he's like, there's, based upon strains, it's like, could have been, unless it was like one of the first ones, it's like pretty weak and petered out at this point. Mm-hmm. So it's more like a medium to bad cold, depending upon the person. So go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So he tested for the swab in the back, came back positive for strep, and he's like, have you had strep recently? I'm like, I haven't had strep since I was in junior high.
Did you have the white dots in the back of your throat?
It was like all white back there.
It was like all white.
It looks like somebody took like a bottle of white out and just went.
Looks like you just got back from a bukkake shoot. Anyway.
It usually doesn't go inside the throat, per my contract.
Oh, okay. I was going to say,
exterior.
Okay, so you're a very conservative bukkake.
Yeah. So I was sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, I haven't had, because I know this, like I didn't have strep in high school. And that was probably why I ended up all 4 years with perfect attendance, because I never had stay home sick. And the only reason I ever was really sick in grade school was because I had strep, because some kid in my class had strep and it was a carrier for it. He never got sick, or she never got sick. I would always be susceptible to it, and I hated strep throat. And so 30 plus years almost goes by, and all of a sudden I have strep throat from somebody. I'm pissed. I'm going to hunt them down like Liam Neeson.
It's funny, though, because my COVID experience was very much, I didn't think that I tested out of an abundance of caution. I did not think I had COVID. I just had like a sore throat, kind of just felt under the weather.
Like a cold.
Yeah, but it had been sort of like instilled at work, like if you feel anything, take a test. Right. And so I took a test that I got from the government that had expired like 2 months before. And I was like, well, that sucks, but I don't know if this is real. And then I went to Target to buy new ones, and it was that everything was sold out. So I was just like, okay, well, that sucks. Okay. And so I emailed work and I said, yes, I guess this is how diligent of an employee I am. This is how much of a good worker be. I then drove to the office, copied all my projects to hard drives, took them back home, and then emailed work and said, I've got COVID, I guess. I copied my projects. I'll continue to work. Then not any like sick days or anything. So I stayed home and edited at home, and but the worst part of it was the sore throat. It was like by far it was incredibly painful, to the point where I was waking up in the middle of the night. Like I couldn't sleep, and that was the most exhausting part of it. Yeah.
Because like the sore throat is the worst, like you can't swallow, and I had like past several days, it's like you just have this huge accumulation of just saliva being made in your mouth where it hurts so badly to swallow. Like, you can't swallow it because you're like, you just have to spit down the sink or something like that. And sleeping, it's bad too. Even though I got that sleep stuff that you told me about.
Diphenhydramine, everybody.
Yeah, diphenhydramine, and I would take it, and I'd be tossing and turning, and then around like 1 a.m., it would hit. And then I'd
It's interesting it took that long to hit for you. Usually, for me, it takes like an hour to hit. But the reason I sent you that meme about Benadryl is because diphenhydramine is Benadryl. It's the exact same. It's the same thing. It's used as an antihistamine and as a sleep aid. That's why it says like don't drive when you take Benadryl.
So the other thing about this was that my body was exceptionally sore. Like, I felt like I had been like working out or doing physical labor for like a straight day, and then just shooting pains. Like, my extremities were hurting and stuff. Like, my back hurt and stuff. So I was thinking maybe it's the flu, because I also have a high fever, and I didn't have an appetite, and I didn't feel like eating and stuff. So when I went there, he was asking me also about mono, if I ever had mono. And I was like, I only know mono because people would kiss girls, and girls have cooties, and that's how you get mono.
I thought I was getting meningitis.
You know, I thought I had mono once for an entire year. Turned out I was just really bored.
So he was like testing my spleen and then my liver. Yeah, I was just like,
your spleen?
I don't know. I don't know. He was a European gentleman, and I was allowing him to touch and prod me. And
that's good.
We had a cigarette afterwards.
That's nice. Hey, that's how it should be done.
So then they gave me the amoxicillin for 10 days, which when I got to CVS, I was very disappointed. They gave me them in capsules. And I'm like, I can't swallow. Give me the pink liquid.
I've never even taken amoxicillin.
There's I remember when I was like,
version.
Yeah, it was this delicious like bubble gum cotton candy flavor, and it was very cool. And you're taking like this test tube spoon, and it was so good. But now they just give you powder form, and I'm like,
hold on a second. Okay. I actually think I know what you're talking about, but I want to. Since we're discussing, I didn't know we were going to talk about this long, but amoxicillin, maybe. Oh, I got the A should have been an I.
It's kind of like it's like a lighter Pepto color. It's like more of like a cotton candy.
I'm kind of
there we go. That's the stuff. Yep. I kind of
remember this.
Yeah,
I do remember
the spoon.
I've never had
like
that, but I remember that
test
spoon.
tube thing.
Because that was like Pepto Bismol.
Yeah, I mean that's like I think that Dimetap and then purple triaminic. I'm not purple. Orange triaminic were like my favorite medicine flavors, like Robitussin, like cherry Robitussin. Ugh, terrible.
I don't like what I don't remember. I don't understand what the situation is being a child and taking cough syrup. Like nobody takes cough syrup after the age of like 12. I remember hating the medicine, and like they'd always shove it in your throat, like in your mouth on like a spoon, and it was the worst. You had to drink water afterwards because it tasted
castor oil. Do you remember castor oil, like from the old movies and cartoons?
From the old movies, yeah.
I always wanted to know what castor oil.
I thought it was so that you
if it's still
digestive
made
problems.
Oh, okay.
I thought that's what that was for.
Because I always remember like they would do like castor oil and be like on a giant spoon, like a surfing spoon, and then the kid would have to like.
You are a bad baby, so now you have to take castor oil. Now, come on. Open up. Come on.
But see, this is from Reddit. 90s babies remember taking this bubblegum flavor medicine when you were a sick child.
80s babies.
And 80s babies. But so, like, was this over the counter for a while?
It was prescription.
Okay, so then how come it was around so much? I never went to the doctor as a kid.
So the thing was that it's a what do you call it? Antibacterial medication, or an antibiotic basically. And I think that they used to prescribe antibiotics a lot more frequently back then when we were kids.
Yeah.
Then around like the 2000s or 2010s, they started cutting back on it, saying we're kind of overdoing the antibiotic thing, or cutting back on the dosage so that you should have your natural antibodies. So now a lot of times they will give you smaller dosages or not even give you that stuff anymore.
Okay, but what's the deal with Robitussin? Like, why is that so prevalent with little kids? And then once you get to the, I don't know. I haven't taken cough syrup in probably, let's see, 30 years.
Yeah, I don't take, I mean, I've kind of given like the boys cough syrup and stuff like that. But most of the time it's like, cough and cold. It's like a combination.
But why don't you just give them like NyQuil, like children's NyQuil or something? Or
they have to be a certain age.
Do they? What's children's NyQuil age? I'm not going to... We'll move on from this topic momentarily. But I'm just curious because Robitussin's terrible. It tastes awful.
Oh, yeah. Robitussin's the worst. It is.
Children's NyQuil. Children's NyQuil, cough and cold. 6 and up.
Yeah.
That's just a recommendation.
Yeah. So the thing is...
Give it to like 3-year-olds. Come on, man.
Passed out drunk.
Yeah, who
Zachary's in the bed. I'm like, is he singing sea shanties?
We sail tonight for Singapore.
God, that was the good stuff. So instead of that, we kind of give the boys this stuff called Highlands, like homeopathic, all natural stuff for kids because they can't have like actual like chemical medication to a certain point. Even with like they can have like children's like Tylenol and Motrin, but for like cough medicines and stuff, like an anti-cough, like a cough suppressant thing, they can't really do stuff like that. So.
Okay, so just really quick, because I was like, you can give a 3-year-old NyQuil. Who cares? He'll be okay. So he'll pass out a little bit earlier. Oh no, my toddler passed out early. Well, just so you know, reported side effects of these products in children include convulsions, rapid heart rate, and death. So
yeah,
maybe I don't know as much about children.
No, you stick with your cat.
That was mean.
Well, Keiko needs love and care also. But yeah,
but like anyway, moving on.
But here's the thing, like.
Or not.
Think about how many years people were giving that stuff to kids without even knowing that stuff. And then they were just like, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore.
It's rare. The kids are fine. But anyway, so you were sick, but luckily you had a product. Besides your amoxicillin, you had a special product from a famous YouTuber to help you make your way through your sickness. Talking about your energy drink thing or whatever the it is.
Oh, this thing is still sealed. I have yet to open it.
Okay. I thought that you had already tried it.
Yeah.
So what is this?
This is Prime Energy.
So it isn't. It's an energy drink, or is it like Gatorade?
Prime hydration drink.
Okay, so that's when it's for your hangovers. It's like when we had Gator Light.
Yes. It's 10% coconut water, vitamin B's, antioxidants, electrolytes, a whole bunch of that stuff. It's promoted by what's his face, Logan Paul and KSI. So they said that they started it, but I think they're just promoted
on YouTube.
So it sold out in the UK like insanely fast, and I was
seriously, KSI is that popular in the UK?
Because he's British, isn't he?
That's why I just
Okay.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah,
yeah.
But that's like really. If I needed another excuse to be disappointed by the English, all right.
It's the never-ending list, quite frankly. So I was at County Market, and I was walking by an end cap, and this thing was just packed top to bottom. I'm like, oh, nobody's even bought one of these. I'm like, so I'll get the lemon lime because of all the flavors, you can't really mess up lemon lime.
Americans hate Logan Paul more than the English like KSI.
KSI. So. We'll see what this is like. So it's kind of urine-esque. Yeah. And it smells very much like Gatorade.
I'd say it looks like Gatorade.
A bit more like not as yellow though. Like Gatorade's got more of a like highlighter yellow almost. But this one has more of a citrusy, like an acidic smell to it.
Powerade.
Powerade was. Do you remember All Sport?
Not particularly.
It was that third one. Yeah, I think it was like carbonated. It had like a slight carbonation. Wasn't that great?
No, I don't remember this at all. So how's Logan Paul and KSI's energy drink.
What is that flavour you got there?
Tropical punch, it says.
Oh, no, it's like swallowing perfume. What is that?
You look enthusiastic.
I don't really have much to say about it. Like,
this is the kind of content the people come to at Culture Doom.
This is why they tune in. This is why our shorts are getting over 1,000 views, Brendan.
Yeah, no, our shorts are getting over 1,000 views because we're catering to anime fans and fans, which are the two fans of the internet.
Also very popular on YouTube, apparently.
So,
I can taste the coconut in this.
Okay, so it's tropical. You like coconut. You're a big pina colada fan.
I love a good pina colada.
Alex calls me or texts me from work. He's like a pina colada sitting on his desk. It's 9 a.m. I think it's a little weird, but as long as he can get away with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just...
Great review. Great content.
Here's the thing. If you didn't know this was an energy drink, you'd just think it's some sort of like fruit drink of some sort.
Well, it isn't an energy drink. It doesn't have caffeine.
Sorry. Like a hydration drink.
Yeah. It's just a Gatorade knockoff.
Yeah, basically.
Are there any embarrassing photos of Logan Paul and KSI being
oh yes,
like supporting? Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah, there they are. Yep. There's a blue one too. I think.
There's a lot of embarrassing pictures. How come I knew they would be embarrassing? Like it's not just like
the soy boy face one.
It's not just normal.
No.
They're all. It kind of reminds. I love the.
See, here's the thing. I heard that they founded this, but I think
like
they're just actual like hype men for it.
Spokespeople.
Yeah,
spokesman.
And it's distributed. It's actually made by some other company.
Did they box?
Logan, yeah, and then Logan Paul still does that and stuff.
Well, I mean, good luck to them. I'm glad that two great human beings continue to be successful and make money together.
Yeah, what's interesting is Wikipedia says that this was introduced over a year ago.
Great.
And I only heard about this like a few months ago.
What's the name? What's Logan Paul's brother's name?
Jake Paul.
Great. Moving on.
Yeah. So I'd give it a 1 out of 4 pots of gold.
Well, okay, like what's a reference point? So what's What's a normal lemon, lime, or just lemon Gatorade?
That's a 4. That's a 4-star.
4-star.
That's a 4 pots of gold. That is the gold standard.
I would agree with that.
I think it's also the original Gatorade flavor that they came up with.
It's the original sports drink.
Yeah, it's and honestly, if I need Gatorade to like actually hydrate, I always go for just a lemon lime.
It's my number 2 hangover drink. Number 1 is a good Pedialyte or a good Electrolyte or whatever that stupid brand is, or Gator Light, because it does the formulation doesn't have as much sugar in it, so it's in my experience it actually does make a difference. But in a pinch, Gatorade is totally there.
The thing that I think I have with this is that I find it a little bit too sweet, almost like it's like a lemon meringue.
Okay, interesting.
Without like the vanilla, just like kind of like this candy lemon. It smells weird too.
In related drinking reviews, I give Evan Williams Single Barrel 3 pots of gold. It's a totally decent expression of Evan Williams, a little bit more sophisticated. It's like complex, a little bit more complex than the normal Black Label, but it's, it's not. It's a $20 bottle. It's not amazing, but it's good. It's good enough. It's good enough to hide my pain.
I got something to show you.
This isn't on the list.
It's not on the list.
Alex is throwing me a curveball. What is this? Oh, dear Lord. Oh. I like how you've abandoned it came with a toad.
Yes, there's two versions. There's one him by himself and the one on the Toad.
Well, I'm glad you got him on the Toad.
Toad.
The thing that's strange to me, though, is that I feel like Naruto is on the Toad more often than Jiraiya is.
Yeah, but he's the what's he referred to? The Toad.
Toad
Sage?
Hermit? Toad Sage.
Toad Sage.
Is that what he's called?
I believe so.
Let's say that's true. No, it's very cool, Alex. I love how you've gone from 0 Funko Pops to 2 Funko Pops in a week.
And I'm totally done with this.
Sure.
I've gotten the look from Erica. I'm seriously done. Like with Funkos. I'm like these, because I told you, I'm like, I definitely want a Batman. And this one can stand by himself. So I'm pretty much like, come on. I mean, all right, come on, man. Look how awesome he is.
I mean, I'm going to give you tacit approval. I'll give you tacit approval on it, yes.
Because I always like Jiraiya's like look and style, because he's got a very Kabuki-esque type of character.
I mean, Jiraiya's like top 5 characters for sure.
Oh yeah, hands down, yeah.
I mean, well, I'm not going to get into it, but
no.
It's so like, are you just going to put these on your computer desk, or is this coming to the office with you, or what?
No, they're just right there on my computer desk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on those shelves that are above there.
You wouldn't want to embarrass yourself at work. Speaking of your wife giving you a dirty look, tonight you sent me a link to something called Divorcist.
Yes, it's called Divorcist.com. It portrays itself as the gift registry for the newly single. What this place is that they want to create a gift registry for people who are going through divorces, but also for people that are going through separations and breakups and other type of life events that's causing them to split from something. And they allow you to create a wish list of products for yourself that people could be able to go and purchase for you and have them sent to you.
So you're getting rewarded for divorcing?
Yes, because
why would people buy you stuff for your divorce?
Because the concept is that it's because it's going through a divorce or separation or whatever, like a breakup. Okay, we'll even say like a breakup or something like that. It's because there is, they're saying that, a lot of times it's a very monetary, damaging type of event. There's a lot of dignity that is kind of like shattered during events such as this. And it's basically trying to make people who go through it kind of feel better about themselves rather than feel like negative about themselves. So, and it's a real website too, in case anybody's wondering.
I was just thinking, this reminds me of like a shitty tech website that would be part of an HBO series.
Yeah.
Like it would be on Silicon Valley or something.
Yeah. So it's they sell their own products in here, and they have a bunch of different things that you can purchase from, such as like a dresser, bartending kit.
Is this merch store?
Yeah, acacia wood cutting board, bedding upholstery.
Wait, where's this?
There's on the top right, there's registry and then browse items.
On the top right.
Or I'm sorry, top left.
Top left. I don't. Are you looking at what I'm looking at?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
if you just maximize. Or click on the little, go. If you scroll to the left.
Alex, you can't see it. There's nothing there.
Oh.
Scroll to the left. There's nothing. There is nothing. There is nothing to the. There is nothing there.
So on the top left it says registry, browse items, find a registry.
No, it says registry, crash, and fund.
Huh, that's weird.
Is this the right website?
Yeah, unless it took you to a different page now. Divorcist.
Literally, there's nothing that says browse. Oh, here we go.
Oh, merch store.
Okay? No, I see.
Okay.
No, you had to go to registry, then go to browse items.
Okay, sorry about that.
Alex, you son of a bitch. I knew this was going to happen. Alex is like, hey, I want to do a show still. Everything's going to be fine. I'm totally got it together.
My throat hurts.
What? Stuff's out of stock? What the? All right, great.
So, yeah, you can get a toaster too if you want.
Everything's out of stock and nothing's loading.
Yeah. So it's founded by two women, so that explains things. So yeah, it's this interesting thing, and I feel like it's something that caters perfectly to the millennials and the Zoomers who kind of can't deal with events in life, so they have to have people kind of crowdfund their rebound.
Why is the website so shitty? Like, it's so slow.
It's founded by two women.
I understand that, but I guarantee you they hired...
They didn't use Squarespace.
But like, why? Is it not loading on your side too?
Yeah, I have busted images. And
okay,
stuff too.
Cool. All right,
yeah,
so it's just
great.
Yeah, I can't wait to give them my business. This instills confidence.
There's a kids inflatable summer swimming pool. For when you start your Twitch channel of being an e-tot. Got some bedding, L-shaped corner, desktop, home office, computer desk. So, Brendan, would you ever use this if you're going through a divorce or a breakup?
No, I wouldn't want to register for a wedding. One of my major hangups is the idea, and I don't know how you felt about this. I don't know if we've ever talked about this. Okay. I find the idea of being in a wedding to be horrifying. Like being the center of attention and having to do all the stupid things that people have to do when they're getting married gives me anxiety. And did Erica enjoy it? Was she like, this was great, I'm so happy that we had this wedding? Because you guys had a fairly big wedding.
Yeah. I think what happens at weddings is that there's so much stress and planning and what if scenarios that go through your head for many months leading up to the event that when the actual day of the event comes, it goes super fast and you don't even remember most of it.
Yeah, I could see that.
And when it's done, it's done. And it's sort of like the whole hoopla itself, unfortunately, is kind of negated by the fact that you're already married by that point by the state. Like once you sign the marriage license, it's like you're pretty much already just like married by the state.
Yeah, but God doesn't.
It still needs to be signed. It's weird because it still needs to be signed off by like an officiant, which is kind of that weird, murky separation of church and state type of thing. But at that point, it's like you're like, yeah, you're married.
But like, have you
the
guys
state
ever,
only gives a shit because they want your tax money.
Have you guys ever talked about this together and been like, we probably should have just gotten our marriage certificate and had like a dinner with family, and that would have been the end of it?
No, that never really came up.
Okay. Because that's how I view it. It's like the idea of spending that much money on a wedding just blows my mind that it ever happens. Because it's so, to me, it just is kind of ridiculous. And it just seems frivolous, and it just seems like it's ironically, it's the same thing as like funerals, where it's just kind of, you're pressured into doing it a certain way.
Burying
it's
the
like,
body.
Yeah, it's like you're a bad person if you don't go along with what the status quo is. And they're literally selling you thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff to put in the ground. And it's just like, what the... Seriously.
I think it's probably just because it's...
Since you will almost certainly outlive me, make sure that they just throw my body in a dumpster in some third world country or something. Because I do
After I have my way with you.
Necrophilia? Really?
I mean, honestly, if it was going to happen to your body, I mean, who would you rather expect?
Who would I rather?
I mean, I'm gonna have to be fighting off Kevin Spacey with a pitchfork.
What the is he talking about? My point is like, don't waste money on dumb stuff. Like you could have gone, like the money you spent on your wedding, you could have gone to like Japan twice. And so it's like, what's more important? What's more valuable? What has, as you just said, it's over in an instant. You barely remember it. But your trip to Japan with Erica, you remember.
Yeah.
Just saying, everybody fight the system. You don't have to do it the way they tell you to do it.
I think it's because it's just such an ingrained part of.
That's what I mean.
Social, society.
Fight the
culture and
break
stuff
the
like
societal norms and do it the way you want to do it. I will make sure that I explain this to my future wife, that why she's not getting a wedding dress or a ring. She can have a ring, just not a.
She's probably gonna walk.
I will give her. I would entertain one of those lab grown diamonds, but there is no scenario.
Be careful with those.
I will not.
Be careful with those, because a girl I work with, she got one of those, and she was telling me, she's like, I didn't expect it to be as much as I thought it would be. Well, it was lab grown. I'm like,
It's going to be a tiny one. They are fundamentally, like, look at the face you're. Alex is like, he doesn't know. He doesn't know, guys. Oh, I know.
This guy.
I do know. That's why I'm still single. That's. I've had this conversation with women before, and they're always like, they gave me the same look that you're giving me right now.
Because I know.
I'm just saying.
I mean, they're see, here's the thing. If they basically outlawed like the blood diamonds stuff like that, and they just went straight to like lab grown stuff, the companies that produce those are just going to be able to jack up the prices because they know they have no competition.
I know, but I'm just saying though that I'm saying, everybody, reasonable humans, stop doing dumb stuff. Stop doing things just because it's a tradition. I like traditions too, but they have to be reasonable. And marriage and funeral traditions are not reasonable. I mean, really, even if like you want to do it in a church, that's fine, but it shouldn't cost you $60,000 to have a wedding in a church.
It didn't cost us $60,000.
I'm not saying it costs you $60,000. I'm not accusing you of anything, but I'm saying that $60,000 for a wedding in Chicago with a reception
that's
and
crazy.
That's normal.
That's normal, yeah.
No.
Because they can command those prices.
But I'm just saying, you shouldn't have to take out a loan to get married. Your wedding should not cost as much as a fancy car, is all I'm saying. And I don't want to go down, I don't want to keep talking about this. It just is baffling to me that people have convinced themselves that they need to spend that much money to get married.
Yeah.
It's the end of it. Sorry.
Well, imagine how much it's going to cost to divorce. Divorcist.com.
Divorces are more expensive. You and I read a manga.
We did?
A picture book.
Kind of call it a manga.
A graphic novel.
Yeah, what was it actually referred to as? Because I have the book that kind of...
Well, hold it up. What are we talking about?
So we are actually reading Hayao Miyazaki's Shuna's Journey. Shuna's Journey.
Like Alex is like, how do I pronounce this? And I'm like, Shuna. 1 hour later, Shuna's Journey.
So the translator himself says that it's referred to as an imonogatari. So it's not like an actual manga.
Gotcha.
Where the manga has caption bubbles. Mm-hmm. This is more where it's like images and panels with like captions.
It struck me as a picture book, honestly.
It's like an illustrated storybook, yeah.
Rather than a graphic novel, and rather than traditional manga, it had that very sparse dialogue and sparse. I mean,
there's a little bit of like dialogue.
Yeah,
in it and such.
Right.
With like actual speech and stuff, but a lot of times, most of like the story that's driven is just kind of like this, like
omniscient narrator stuff.
Right.
Narrator. Yeah. The other thing, this book was just this is from 1989, I believe, is when Miyazaki published it.
Yeah.
And this just got published in the United States in November of 2022.
Yeah, this was actually, I think it was where it wasn't even like translated before into English, and this was the very first time.
There's a fan translation on the
okay.
internet, but yeah.
Oh, okay, but like like official.
Yeah, and actually, quick details about this. This was made from rescans of the original artwork, and is now technically, from what I understand, this is a better version than what was released in Japan, because the Japanese version is still a little baby kind of book, like a little baby tokuban.
Yeah. I think it was published June of '83. Which was 2 years before. Yeah, 2 years prior to the establishment of Studio Ghibli.
God, think of it this way: you were 5 months old.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
Yeah, you too. You do. Yeah.
I was 4 months old because I'm
four and a half.
I was a
four
much
and a half-ish.
Sexy younger model came out.
Eating your instant mashed potatoes.
Eating my instant mashed potatoes.
Freeze-dried ice cream. So what's interesting about this is that Shuna's journey.
Yes.
Okay, good.
So
right off the bat, anybody who loves Miyazaki and anime in general will be able to see that the character of Shuna is basically kind of like the prince from Mononoke.
Yeah, right down to Yakul.
Yeah,
although
species, it's a species.
In Shuna, it's a species, and in Mononoke, it's the name of the actual animal.
And when you start going through the artwork and you're looking at it, you can honestly just think like this is just Nausicaa. And like everything. Yeah, like even the type of like, the character designs and things like that.
So honestly, I thought Shuna was a girl when I looked at the cover, and I thought she looked like Nausicaa. So I was because then I started reading it and I was like, oh, wait, that's a boy.
Yeah. So basically what it is that Shuna lives in this like this mountainous kingdom. And they have a lot of trouble trying to grow crops and raising their yakuls to feed off of them. So he meets this stranger in the middle of the night who is carrying these seeds. And he says, oh, there's this place I come from, and they have more of these seeds that can be used to harvest and planted and harvest. So Shuna basically goes on this long journey to try to find this magical place where these seeds are. He meets two sisters that are... whose village was raided and they've been taken into captivity by slavers, sold at a market, and he ends up freeing them, which they end up
spoilers, Alex.
Sorry.
There are people chomping at the bit to read this who haven't bought it yet, apparently. But no, anyways, it's his travels, it's his journey to find the origin of the seeds.
Save his village.
That will save his village. Yeah.
So basically, it's kind of like the precursor for Nausicaa.
Nausicaa and Mononoke.
Mononoke, yeah.
It's interesting and fascinating if you like Ghibli and Miyazaki to see these elements and how they were repurposed. In hindsight, seeing these ideas and designs and characters get repurposed into his later films and how they were like finalized,
Right, yeah. Because I don't know if this was ever like meant to be like a film adaptation of this. They could do this if they wanted to, but I feel like when they're planning it, they'd probably like Miyazaki would probably be like, I feel like this is just a retreading of something I've already done.
Yeah,
and this was like the foundation for those things, so it's kind of like pointless.
Yeah, it was written 40 years ago. He's not going to revisit that kind. He already cannibalized it for other. Yeah, and frankly,
that's Goro's job.
Frankly, better stories. Like, this is technically an adaptation of a Tibetan story. I
believe so. It's like Tibetan, Asian.
Because there's a afterword from Miyazaki, or the original afterword from 1983, where he talks about where the impetus of the story was, and I believe he says it's a Tibetan folktale
Yeah, Central Asia.
So, my thing is that I think that shows. I think that aspect of the story shows because it is a strange story. It is not. I think that Princess Mononoke and Nausicaa kind of, while experimental in places in their own right, they both still kind of follow a traditional arc, a traditional hero's journey. And interesting, weird things happen, folktale-esque stuff. But this really feels like a folktale.
Yeah, especially when he actually arrives at his destination where he's supposed to get the seeds, and then he sees how. Yeah, I mean, I won't spoiler that. You have to see it yourself.
It's I was reading it, and there was I read the fan version, and there was a introduction on the last chapter, the second to last chapter, and it was like, wow, this story really didn't go where I thought it was going when I was translating it, but it's still beautiful and blah blah blah. And I was reading it thinking, okay, I don't know what that's all about, and then it got to where things get a little off the rails, and I was like, oh. Not at all, especially if you have a preconception of where Miyazaki goes. I don't know if you've ever seen Laputa, Castle in the Sky. Laputa.
I haven't had that one. No.
There are elements. There are elements in that are also the scenes that you and I are vaguely discussing right now.
Right.
Those were put into that
come
film.
back. Okay. So this is basically kind of like he was able to take some of the different parts of it.
It's like early ideas that he I mean not like one to one, but inspiration wise
concepts.
But it's much better. It's not as sinister in Castle in the Sky, I'll put it that way. It's much more traditional Ghibli magical world and less ominous.
Yeah. Very very.
It's edgy. Miyazaki. He was young and trying to be like, oh, I'm a edgy take on a Tibetan folktale. So I get it. Yeah. I think it's cool. So Alex, what did you think about Shuna's journey?
Overall I really enjoyed it. If I'm trying to keep it out of my mind that this is basically the predecessor for. Definitely for Nausicaa and Mononoke and a few others, like you said, Castle in the Sky, that Miyazaki had beforehand. I mean, this in itself is a pretty well wrapped up, solid storyline alone, and it's kind of a treat because unless you really delve into Miyazaki's total body of work. You probably wouldn't have known about this, and I don't think Ghibli really ever mentions something about this, simply because this was before he made Ghibli and stuff like that. So, according to Daisy Ridley, it's a gem. It's a gem of storytelling.
Well, a rare gem. It's a weird rare gem. It's a weird
from
quote.
Beloved master.
It's a weird quote, I feel. I know what she's saying, but it's not entirely accurate.
Is she talking about Miyazaki, though?
Yeah. What's the thing? It's like saying a rare gem almost makes it sound like he doesn't put out many gems.
Yeah.
And alternatively...
A little condescending.
And the way she's intending it is that you don't get many... Miyazaki doesn't do a lot of work. And so you rarely get his stuff. But that's not entirely true either up until... The Wind Rises. I mean, the guy was putting out, in terms of animation, he was putting out a pretty decent pace.
Pretty consistent, yeah.
I mean,
every several years.
He's releasing another film this year, I think. And that's only, I think, 10 years between films. Anno took that long, and he's not considered like a rare treat. You know what I mean? It's just like he just made a film finally. It took as long as time. But anyway, the other thing that's funny about that book, I assume, since I didn't have the physical copy, is that published in the traditional Japanese way with the right, so it opens, so it reads like Japanese. Yeah. There's a. I was looking at the Amazon reviews, and there's a complaint that the dust jacket was printed backwards. And I was like, I think that you might be reading it backwards.
I think your brain's backwards. Sir.
Maybe it was supposed to be a joke, but. So how many pots of gold would you give Shuna's Journey, my friend?
Shuna's Journey, I would give it 3 out of 4 pots of gold.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
Like I said, by itself, it's really good. The format itself is not like that of a typical manga, so it's very easy to read. I think I did this in maybe half an hour.
It's 116 pages, and it probably is like half hour, 45 minutes to read it. Because when I saw that, I was like, oh God, how am I supposed to finish this in time for the episode? And I was like, oh wait, no, this is a brisk 116 pages.
Yeah, where some of the stuff, it almost kind of looks like they're just kind of like storyboard that were just kind of put together, colored and such like that.
I mean, the art is beautiful.
Oh yeah, I mean it's undeniably Miyazaki. What's great about Miyazaki is that I always his art style is, you could tell that it's Miyazaki who did the art style, very similar to like how Akira Toriyama's art style, you could tell it's Toriyama. Where when I got Chrono Trigger, like the artwork and the poster and the booklet and on the box, I was like, oh, that's Toriyama, without even having to look it up. And I already knew at like, mid-90s that it was him. So yeah, I greatly enjoyed it and stuff like that.
I agree. 3 pots of gold. It's it was so interesting and so unique that I actually was, the reason I was on Amazon is because I was debating buying it, and I put it on a wish list to go back to, if I decide that I want to add it, because I was watching YouTube people talk about the publishing, and they were like, oh, it's a really nice looking book. So
and
check it out, everybody.
Yeah, it was so weird because in our tiny town of 1,500 people now, this was at the library, and I kind of go past like our tiny little like manga section every so often if I'm in there with Nicholas, and I saw this, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, no, it's really funny that you going to the library with your son, because then you texted me and you're like, hot new Miyazaki manga just dropped. And I assumed that was just like an older book of like, I was like, oh yeah, it's like an old Miyazaki thing. And then it was like, oh no, this just got published a couple of months ago. So very cool. Very cool, Alex.
And that's what I would say, like a rare gem in that regard. As opposed to like, oh, it's a rare story. It's just like whatever BS.
We watched Velma. Paradoxically, we both watched Velma. I watched 4 episodes. How many did you watch?
I watched 4 episodes.
Oh, you did watch all 4.
If you were gonna suffer through that trash heap, I'm gonna be right there next to you, buddy.
All right. Well, I appreciate it because now.
But I've heard that there are 5 and 6 are also out, but I don't know if I want to go through it anymore.
Strangely enough, I'm done. Strangely enough, they've released 2 at a time for 5 weeks is what the plan is, and it's sort of like, that's odd, but okay.
Yeah.
Why not just release all of them then?
I know, because they want to try to make it episodic. Like, you come back and watch it. And
I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that for good series. And like, I thought that was, I liked that they did that for Twin Peaks: The Return, because it does facilitate conversation. And so being on TV or on Reddit during that era and like going online and seeing people discussing the new episodes, that's a fun thing. But that's for a cultural event. Velma is not a cultural event. Although in a certain context, it is, I guess.
My name is Velma Dinkley, and I've decided to finally share the bone-chilling events that drove me to assemble the greatest team of spooky mystery solvers ever. This is my story, told my way.
So Velma is the new HBO Max series. Everybody knows this thing. What's her name? Mindy Kaling is an executive producer. I don't think that she's a writer.
I didn't see her name on other than executive producer.
She's an exec producer and plays
Velma's
Velma.
Voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much it as far as
But that's
I know.
why it's strange to me that she's getting so much shit about this. I mean, she was
instrumental in getting it going.
Is she instrumental? Executive producers are usually
It sounded like she was the force behind it. Like this was her idea or something.
Maybe.
But it's not. But in the credits, I don't even think it says created by.
No, it's not.
It's some dude.
That's what I mean. Is I don't think that she has as much.
Some white guy. Well,
let's find out. Let's switch over to our heroine, Velma. So the reason that this all came up for me, because I forced Alex to watch this, was because it was getting so much hate from so many groups of people that I, as a natural contrarian, was thinking, let's watch this. And then I can be like, hey, it was fine. I liked it. It was good. It's silly, So I just wanted to be the asshole who was like, it's not that bad.
Party pooper.
I wanted to be the party pooper. Partially because the certain segment of the population who dislikes it has spiraled into weird conspiracy theory land, where they think that a group of people with one political ideology that's contrary to theirs made this to make them look bad. Mm-hmm. Have you heard this?
Yeah. I'm usually on those message boards.
What message boards? It's a basket weaving forum.
Underwater basket weaving.
Chinese underwater basket weaving forum. But it's interesting to see both sides be offended.
I know. It's kind of enough, Velma is the great unifier of our nation.
Well, that's what I mean. It is kind of a cultural event where you've got right of center people being like, how dare they do what they did to Fred, and
the whole my childhood
changing Velma's race, all that kind of stuff. They're
Daphne's
all pissed off.
Also.
Daphne, I don't even think qualifies. Frankly, she does not look or behave any differently than
Shaggy. Or he's not even Shaggy. It's like he's a completely different character.
I have lots to say about Norville.
Norville, which is his actual name, but
that's Shaggy. See,
they keep calling him Norville. It's like
that's some lore that I was not really aware of, to be honest. And I was an old school Scooby-Doo fan. I used to watch it with my grandma when I came home from school. Mm-hmm. Anyway, meanwhile, the left of center people are mad because they feel like it makes their ideology look so embarrassing that it had to have been made by right of center people who wanted to make them look bad, look crazy for their beliefs. So you've got two diametrically opposed groups of people who are equally offended and upset about this show, which leads it to being the #1 most hated series on IMDb at the moment. I don't remember who it...
Rightfully so.
We'll see. Okay, hold on. We'll get to that. But yeah, so no, it's the origin story of the Mystery Gang. Isn't that... No. Mystery Machine. Wait, what's the name of their little club?
Mystery Inc.
Mystery Inc. is the name of the group?
Yeah.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
What's the name of the van?
And the Mystery Machine is their van.
That's what I was confusing it with. But it's like the origin story of that.
Yeah.
With Velma, the now Indian Velma, being the impetus and the origin of the group. Okay. The funny thing to me, I mean, the mystery itself that's going on this season is kind of like, who cares? The interesting thing to me about Velma is that I think Norville is actually the best character. There's some actually funny moments with him, like when he shows up to give flowers to Velma, and Daphne are kissing, and he's just like, well, even my best me isn't good enough anymore.
Great. Now even just being myself won't work. Rom-coms can kiss my ass.
And it's like, that's funny. It's like Norville actually seems, well, I'll put it this way. Norville's likable, Fred is even kind of likable, as like inept and bumbling and pampered as he is. He's likable because of how sheltered and weird he is.
Yeah,
like I kind of
like you feel like some level of like pity for him.
Yeah, it's like when he's in court and he's like trying to cut his steak, and it's just like, "Mommy, cutties." I'm just like, "That's okay. Yeah, it's funny. I get it. That's fine."
Yeah.
Daphne is just kind of.
She's there.
She's just kind of
She's
there.
like typical airhead.
She's written kind of weird.
Girl.
Like the drug dealing thing is weird.
Yeah.
Like it's just unnecessary. So that stuff is just kind of off-putting, but whatever. It didn't make a big deal to me. The weirdest part is that Velma is just horribly unlikable as a character. She's just kind of irredeemable, and she's just kind of.
Maybe that was the goal all along, but they'll never admit to it.
I don't understand what the goal was, though. Like, what did they think would come across writing this character like this? Like, she's just a bitch to everyone, all the time. She's like mean and abusive to everyone around her. And like, were you trying to make her seem like fourth wall? Like she but it doesn't. It just does.
It's
not
almost.
work.
It's almost like they're trying to recreate the Daria character.
Yeah, but see, Daria was likable.
20 plus years. Yeah, and that's the thing. 20 plus years after the fact, in a completely different setting, using the modern writing and I don't even know what it is, modern psyche.
I mean there is an element to me where it's a little like Velma's too self-aware. Like the entire first 15 minutes of the first episode is calling out tropes while they're doing the tropes, but that doesn't make it good or interesting to call it out while you're doing it, because you're not changing things, you're not doing anything unique, you're just kind of constantly being like, remember in horror movies when this happens? And it's like, okay, well, so what? Yeah. Just saying that doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah. I also find it weird that they decided to, in this show, probably because this is a show, the actual crime that's being committed in the Scooby-Doo show is that it's actual murders, and I don't recall that ever being the case.
Well, this is
like, it's always like somebody's scaring somebody off from like a hidden treasure, or they're trying to do something and prevent people from finding out. Like, this is like, in this case, like they're actually murdering people and they're taking their brain in some sadistic manner. So I'm guessing they're probably like, oh, we're actually going to kill people, so it's more, type of thing.
Okay, this kind of relates to another issue I had, which is, okay, so they want to make this sort of a Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland-esque adult show.
Just like every other show that is out there now.
To give it like edgy. It's for adults, So we're going to show violence, we're going to show murders, and they're going to swear and all this stuff. Okay, fine, but it doesn't go far enough. If you're going to do that, then, for example, in the first episode, there's a whole thing about gratuitous nudity in the the teenage girl shower scene, right?
The shower scene, yes.
Except that there's
strategically placed suds.
There's
and
no
bubbles.
nudity.
Have you ever noticed how pilot episodes of TV shows always have more gratuitous sex and nudity than the rest of the series?
Oh my god, I have.
So true.
That's how we learned what Rachel Brosnahan's boobs look like.
And Don Cheadle's butt. Well, I, for one, think it's lame.
Agree.
So lame.
The lamest. Oh, I actually kind of love it.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, where it's like, what are you doing? Like, it's okay, first of all, it's a freaking cartoon, so you can show whatever you want. Nobody will care. It'll play as a joke no matter what you do.
Yeah. And it's on HBO Max, so nobody cares.
And it's like, I mean, look at it. This animation style does not lend itself necessarily to sexy nudity.
No.
This isn't Misato Katsuragi. I'm just saying. I mean, just totally random character that I just thought of for no reason.
Yeah.
This isn't somebody that you want to see naked necessarily. But the whole shower scene was just like, well, what's the point of calling this out if you're not going to do it for real and have cartoon boobies? That's the joke. That's the joke. Mm-hmm. You've got like cartoon nudity in this scene, but they didn't have the bravery to do it, Mm-hmm. And same with the violence. The violence isn't that. It's just kind of, they don't go far enough. And since they don't go far enough, the whole "we're edgy now" just comes off as kind of wishy-washy.
Yeah.
So, all aboard. Hit that like button every time you hear a siren or you hear a train going by. Hit that like button, everybody. Well, wait a second.
Like and subscribe.
Only hit it once, though.
Yeah.
Don't keep hitting.
Make sure it's highlighted.
Yeah, make sure it's highlighted. I mean, yeah. The biggest shock to me was that so I don't think it's the worst thing that's ever come out of online or on television. It's not the worst TV show of all time. But it is baffling at how much of a misfire it is with especially how much shit they were talking at the beginning of this, and then this is the product that you're supposed to got them with.
Yeah.
Ooh, no, not even close. Not even close to being close. This is just kind of embarrassing for everyone involved, and it's too bad because I mean, animation's time consuming and hard, and then I think about all the people drawing this stuff, and then when it's over, you've got Velma, and so it's not like I don't care about Mindy Kaling or any of like the voice actors I kind of care about a little bit, but like I think about the guy, the intern who drew, a bunch of scenes at some animation company, and it was like, Mom and Dad, my show's coming out on HBO Max. You should watch it. It's called Velma. It's about some show called Scooby-Doo that I've never seen. And his parents like, oh, my kid worked on Velma. And then this is Velma.
Yeah. Or you could be like the veteran at the company who's doing the stuff, and he's just like, this is going to be garbage. It's going to suck. This is such shit. I can't believe 20 years in the industry and this is what I'm stuck doing.
Okay, so I'll put it this way. I don't know if it'll be in the episode, but we talked about that movie that you mentioned, Orlando. Had 7.0 with 17,000. 1.3 with 54,000 votes.
That's insane.
Like,
jeez. Mindless violence. That's the only violent thing, like showing like the hollow skulls. It's like,
but it's also this. Yeah, okay.
There's no monsters. It's like the only like monster element was like the stuff in her head.
They should have just continued doing.
Glenn Howerton. Okay. He's from Always Sunny.
Oh, okay. Oh, I gotcha. They should have just done episodic and not worried about doing the stupid like whole. I don't know. There's a whole thing going on with this type of animation. Like I watched a little bit of the Harley Quinn stuff, and look at this. This is the opposite. 8.5 and 31,000. I don't think this show is particularly much less egregious. I don't think it's much better. It's another HBO show.
Isn't this part of that whole like CalArt style of animation shit?
That's. I mean that doesn't have to do with the content though. That's just the art design. Anyway. Velma, if they got rid of Velma, it actually would be a more interesting kind of funny show. Norville's funny, Fred's funny, Daphne exists. Basically, if you got rid of the women and just it's the time-honored tradition. You put like the black dude and the bumbling white dude together, and you get comedy gold.
Comedy gold.
And then the women
be like
the women show up and fuck it all. No,
it's
we love the ladies. That's why Alex is married and I'm horribly.
It's like it'll be like Blazing Saddles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and give him like a talking dog. I mean,
Norville's the most relatable for sure. He's the only. He's the most normal. Is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one who's not a drug dealer. He's not a crazy narcissistic bitch like Velma is.
Yeah.
And he's not a weird rich boy
who can't cut a steak.
Incompetent person who can't cut his own steak. He's the normal
what
one.
What was the deal with like, okay, Velma's dad is dating some like waitress who has a baby that's sticking out of her stomach?
Yeah, it was trying to be funny.
Okay. Okay.
Didn't you laugh, Alex?
I don't need to worry about that. Okay. I don't have to worry about this garbage anyways. So. And what's the weirdest thing is like they decided to pick Scooby-Doo of all things to have this whole thing.
They I think they kind of showed their hand a little bit because they referenced that Riverdale show, which is Archie, but dark and weird. I think that was a direct inspiration for this. They tried to make this dark and weird or something.
So taking something that people used to enjoy that was kind of just like...
Well, people like Riverdale, so...
Well, that whole thing where you take something that was like fun and innocent and you try to make it like edgy and modern.
Yes.
In a sense. Assholes.
So how many pots of gold would you give Velma?
Is 0 a possibility?
Yeah, that's why we do 4.
Yeah, 0.
Okay.
Yeah, 0.
Because my what we basically did was steal Roger Ebert's star ratings because he went 0 to 4, and the reason being like a bunch of websites do like half star to 5.
Okay.
No. There is something more. You feel a 0.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when you see 0 stars, that's like, ooh. Half star seems kind of like, oh, well, there's something there. It's a little bit.
If it's $1 rental Blockbuster and you're desperate.
So, Alex, wow, full 0.
Yeah, so just don't even waste your time with this. Don't even do that. What are they doing? Like rage watching or hate watching?
I oppose rage watching as a general principle. I find that to be, it's an embarrassment. Don't do that. Do not give your money. Do not give your time. Like the people who go see Avatar out of just like not genuine interest, but sort of like, ugh, I hate Avatar. Well,
there's still no hype behind Avatar.
The Avatar thing
nobody's
is
talking about it.
It's funny. My coworker finally went to see it, and one of them hated it. And cannot stop complaining. It's kind of funny because he's a guy who really likes it. From my point of view, he likes everything. Like he likes cyberpunk. He was sort of like, eh. Although you like cyberpunk also, so maybe that's the wrong example.
I'm very critical of it.
Yeah, but you've got 150 hours in it.
Yeah, I do. Most of it's just driving around at nighttime. I mean,
that's your bread and butter.
Yeah.
But other people were just kind of like making fun of. I guess there's a scene where a guy talks to a whale and the whale's subtitled. That's pretty funny. Like that's kind of experimental.
In Avatar?
In Avatar 2. There's a whale that talks and it's subtitled. Now you're curious, aren't you?
No.
But anyway, my point is 1 pot of gold. I will not go full 0 on this because I do think that with less agenda-driven writing, and I don't even know what the agenda is, to be honest. Like, I get why there's 2 groups of people who are pissed off about this because I don't even know what point they're trying to make. Because on one hand, they'll be, like, critical of Me Too and, like, doing the, like, how comics have gotten neutered by the Me Too stuff. And like, yeah, okay, I get it. And then on the other hand, they'll do some kind of like really obvious, shitty white guy joke that's just sort of like, Fred's a wealthy white guy and we hate them. You know, it's just kind of lazy writing. And I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't even know who is this for?
Right, yeah, because the people...
Because I wouldn't even say it's middle of the road. Because centrist is a whole other idea in ideology. And just being like extremes is not centrist. Being extreme left and then extremely right is not what centrists think.
It's not meant... So like the Gen X people that actually grew up around the whole Scooby-Doo time period, like they don't want anything to do with this because they don't get this... humor or writing. There's no Scooby-Doo. Everybody looks weird. There's no monsters or ghosts. They don't care. The rando normie centrist is like,
No, you know, it would just, normies would be like, I don't care. which they apparently
might
don't.
watch They might watch the first episode of curiosity, and they're like, "It's not worth my time anymore."
Don't watch Velma. Find Summertime Rendering and watch that instead. Or I actually have been watching Toradora.
Oh, you have?
I have.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'm only on like episode 6, but you talked me into it, and I picked it up. I watch it before I go to bed.
It's definitely that kind of anime too. It's like a before bed type of anime.
I'm a little worried about it, but we'll talk after the show about this.
Okay.
Anyway, so Alex, I think that about does it for episode 406.
I believe it does.
We talked about a great work of art by a great artist.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked about Velma.
What a palate cleanser.
Talked about divorce and aging and sport drinks from YouTube personalities.
Yeah.
I almost made a... Never mind.
Also, as a suggestion to people, instead of watching this pile of garbage, if you want to watch a more recently made Scooby-Doo series, I would very much suggest folks checking out Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. It's got all 5 of the characters. They're all their same personality. Matthew Lillard does Shaggy's voice because that's been him doing it. And it's a cool concept because it takes place after the gang has kind of done their whole mystery thing. They go back to their hometown of Crystal Cove, and you get introduced to each of their own families and the mysteries that their families play in this overarching conspiracy that's plaguing the town and such. And Lewis Black plays this mysterious character who's a Svengali behind the scenes, trying to guide them through this whole thing.
Is this a series?
Better. Yes. Yeah. That's one.
Huh.
Yeah. And it's got actual like monster. Well, like, you know.
Is this the one
monsters.
where it turns out that Fred's into traps?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
You know what's funny about that?
He also subscribes to Traps Illustrated.
So the fact is, this came out.
His favorite one is Miss Nevada.
Made a joke about Fred being into traps. No, everyone was just kind of like, "Oh, I'm posting that on the internet," and taking screenshots, and it became a meme.
Mm-hmm.
Then they try to do it like for like making a statement, and everybody hates it. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's kind of in good fun, and it's like obvious that like the animator's putting in a joke and just having fun with it, and everyone just goes along with it. It's no big deal,
right?
You know, it's almost like sincerity matters in art and media. I don't know, but anyway, Alex, I think we've dug enough of a grave for ourselves this week.
That's fine.
Would you please do me a favor and wrap up episode 406 of Culture Doom?
Sure, certainly. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in, listening and watching us on YouTube. We had a great time. Hope you had a good time, too. We will see you next time on episode 407. But until then, on behalf of Brendan, this is Alex saying double watch now. Give me the pink liquid.